Auburn opens as a massive favorite against Baylor. And while I get it, I am a little surprised.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail, wins to find the moment, putting in the work. That defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to Mazda because there's more to you. Kyle Rush of the Barn, Auburn, hanging out with us. He hosts the Top Button podcast over there. I want to talk about some of the predictions of Israel Abrams, potentially Auburn's next quarterback. Byrum Brown being snubbed on a top 10 QB list, in my opinion. I think we're going to see a lot of that, and I think we'll actually see it change over the course of the offseason. But our friends at FanDuel, Kyle, will start things off here. Auburn opening at a 7.5-point favorite over Baylor to start the season off. And I figured Auburn would be favored, especially with it being in Atlanta. But 7.5, like that seems like a lot to me. And this, I get it, but I am surprised by it.
I'm not super surprised because I think we talked about this on the Barncast on Sunday. Okay. I expected it to be 6.5. Like I was thinking a touchdown, like Auburn right around a touchdown. So that it's only a point off. Baylor lost a lot in the portal, just like I guess everybody did. And I'm looking at, what they brought in, and other than DJ Lagway, nothing really jumps off the page as far as, big time name. Hosea Wheeler, that was a pretty good one. Defensive lineman from Indiana. But other than that, I think you're just about. I mean, if you go position by position, Auburn's going to be maybe better almost across the board. So it makes sense to me. I agree. We don't. It's a whole new team. There's like 50 new people, but they're projecting Auburn to be a touchdown favorite. So I get it, but it makes sense to me.
Going into the Baylor game last year, like let's remember, for a big chunk of the offseason, Auburn was favored by a few points. And then a few weeks out, that line shifted to where Baylor was favored by a few points. And then I think, days before the kick, it shifted back to where Auburn was just a slight favorite. Do you think this touchdown difference year to year, do you think that says more about Auburn's roster being better or Baylor's roster being worse? And obviously the location of where this game is played also plays into effect all of this. But like there was a lot of excitement and buzz around Sawyer Robertson for Baylor going into last year. Like that was a big thing. It's like, okay, can our defense slow him down? Thankfully they did. I don't think DJ Lagway is awful. I also don't think he's great. I think there's a lot of questions about DJ Lagway, but it's not like he's some major liability from the quarterback position.
Yeah, I would say to me, it says Baylor's roster's worse. That's my, and because I don't think Auburn's roster is like exponentially better than it was last year. I think Auburn had a pretty good roster last year, maybe at a couple of positions, but it feels like Baylor losing Sawyer Roberts took a step back. And also, Bryson Washington's going to be on our team, which is
right.
Crazy. And we really like him. So I think it speaks more to their roster than it does ours, because I don't think we're just exponentially better as a whole than we were last year from a talent standpoint, man for man.
Let's say Baylor or Sawyer Robertson sued the NCAA and Sawyer Robertson got another year of eligibility, because that's all you got to do. Let's assume he was still on this team, though. I still think Auburn's a sizable favorite based off of this number. Like, I don't think it's just him.
Man, sizable. I think it's worth. I think he's probably worth at least 4 points.
Really, so over DJ Lagway?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I don't think he's good at all. So
you don't think he's good at all? You think I'm too high on DJ Lagway? Like, I don't think he's awful. I don't think he's as great as people made him out to be either. But I don't think he's like atrocious.
I mean, Sawyer threw for like what? He led the league. He led the country, didn't he, in passing?
Yeah, that was like Baylor's big thing going into it, is like how nationally productive he was.
Yeah, and you bring back the same offensive coordinator, I believe, Spav, and you're adding Lagway, but Lagway just hasn't proven to me. I mean, do you think Lagway can go throw for 4,000 yards?
No.
Or 4,500, whatever it was that
I think if you gave me the caveat that he's 100% healthy and would remain 100% healthy, I think about it for a second, but no.
I don't either. And to me, that's the only way. Remember that game? Like, the only way they were in the game was because, Sawyer threw up and down the field on us, and I don't feel that threat. I don't feel that threat from DJ Lagway. Now, it may have just been the system, and now he's going to be all world, but I've seen it for 2 years, and he has not looked good for 2 years.
When you think about in that game, it was Jackson Arnold, and it was a lot of Damari Austin running the ball, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 13 carries, I think.
And imagine this offense. Imagine this offense running the ball that actually wants to run the football. They're not going to pivot because, we're able to run the football. They're going to go in there saying, we want to run the football. And what a great opportunity to really make a statement on what should be a national stage with it being played in Atlanta. And I'm assuming Aflac's going to promote the heck out of this just because they're giving us so much money from an NIL point of view. What a prime opportunity, because I'm with you. And a lot of the talk is going to be about the new quarterbacks for the squad, but Auburn should be able to run all over Baylor in this game.
100%. And you're watching Byrum Brown throw up 500 pounds multiple times on video. He's going on a squat rack. He's going to get his yards too, and they're going to feel it. That got me jacked up, dude. That workout video. It's that time of year. Workout videos just get me going.
It is that time of year. We'll get a few of those. Then spring will happen, and then we'll get a little bit in the summer, and then fall will happen. Then we'll get to play ball. But yeah, it is one of those windows of the year for sure. So yeah, Auburn a 7.5-point favorite. Way too early prediction. I know this is ridiculous, but if you're listening to a daily Auburn show in February, this is the stuff that you want. I'm predicting Auburn to cover this.
How much do you think that line moves before kickoff?
I bet it stays pretty steady.
Think so?
Within a point either way.
I think that's fair. I would say a point.
If it goes to 6.5, I wouldn't be shocked. I think it's more likely to go to 6.5 than 8.5.
See, I think it's like, well, yeah. I think you're right. Because that touchdown is a magic number to me. That touchdown to me that's the magic number. So if people are trying to get it, thinking that, it could be a touchdown game, I could see it dropping.
Mm-hmm. But I think the money will be on Auburn on this.
What's that?
I think the money will be on Auburn.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. So yeah, we're both taking Auburn to cover 7.5 in a game that's like a year from now. But here we go. Your team every day, baby. Let's go.
I'm gonna roll with Byrum Brown until he proves that.
Yeah. And there are people not rolling with Byrum Brown. It's a tad contradictory, and also I think it's a little wrong. Let's jump into that in just a moment. Right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen, I said Philip Jovich on my show yesterday afternoon for him moving the game forward, because a lot of what Mazda does, it's like, hey, off the court is what really matters. And I think what Jovich has done developmentally as a basketball player since he's been here, I think that checks a lot of the boxes, Kyle.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's getting better. We put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall. Can you imagine buying Auburn gear anywhere other than with our friends?
Would be crazy. Crazy talk.
It would be crazy. I mean, you're limiting your own selection. You're limiting your own happiness. Doesn't make any sense. Go see them. We've got 2 physical locations in town, Auburn and Opelika. And also you can go to alumnihall.com as well. They're going to take care of you. The folks are always super, super nice. Mention the show. I don't think we have a promo. We don't have a promo code or anything, but I've gotten messages from a lot of people saying that mentioning the show and the person working gives them a discount. So I don't think that's guaranteed, but that is happening. So check them out, alumnihall.com, or in their physical locations in Auburn and Opelika. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Check out the Everydayer Club. If you do tune in every day, you can get access to an ad-free audio feed. Just go to lockedonauburn.supercast.com to sign up today. So we're seeing a lot of lists, a lot of early year lists, pre-spring lists, and I eat up every single one of them. And there's folks out there that judge them, and I'm like, no, you eat them up too. You eat them up too. JD Piquel of On3, I think he's one of the best in the biz. He put out a list earlier in the year ranking Byrum Brown as the most impactful quarterback addition via the portal. Hard to argue against it. Hard to argue against it. He recently put out a list, did a podcast on it. They made a graphic of it, of his early top 10 QB projections. And to his credit, this isn't a top 10 as far as like in a vacuum. He's projecting their stats out. So fit, opponent, coordinator, all that goes into effect. But 1 through 10, Dante Moore at Oregon, Julian Sand at Ohio State at 2, number 3, Arch Manning at Texas, number 4, Brendan Sorsby at Texas Tech, 5, Josh Hoover to Indiana, 6, CJ Carr at Notre Dame, 7, Darian Mensah at Miami, 8, Sam Levitt LSU, 9, Gunnar Stockton, Georgia, 10, Jade Mayava, USC. I'm like, okay. And as I'm watching him do this before the graphic came out, because I kept expecting him to say Byrum Brown, and that name just never happened. And you can call me a homer. I don't care. But I would take Byrum Brown over most of these guys. Kyle, am I crazy for that?
Well, what's funny is you said he would be the most, JD Piquel had him as the most impactful transfer.
Get there. Yes.
And then there's 4 transfers on this list. And he's not one of them. There's Josh Hoover, there's Darian Mensah, Sam Levitt, and Brendan Sorsby. So how does that make sense?
Impact and projection isn't the same thing, but there should be some correlation. I'm with you.
Well, okay. Well, then let's go to the second point. You have the only thing you have to compare Byrum Brown to from last year. You can look at Arch Manning and Gunnar Stockton's game against Florida, and Byrum Brown had a better statistical game than both of them. So I don't think there's maybe 2 guys on this list I would take right now if you said you got to pick this guy or Byrum Brown. And both of them are honestly very similar to Byrum Brown. It would be Dante Moore and honestly Jaden Mavia. I would take both of those guys, and it would be a coin toss with Jaden. As far as who I would take.
I think Jaden Mayava is super underrated at USC. 3rd year in a Lincoln Riley system is a big deal.
He was good last year, man.
But my big thing with Byrum Brown is I think his whole portal recruitment was so hush-hush and so boring and so nationally irrelevant because it was obvious of where he was going.
Exactly.
If Byrum Brown had tested the open market and became a national story, and Alex Golesh stayed at South Florida, and he's just like, I can't stay at South Florida. I need a larger stage, a larger platform because I want to compete. The conversation around him is totally different. If he goes to LSU instead of Sam Levitt, oh my goodness, there's Heisman chatter all over the place. If he goes to Indiana instead of Josh Hoover, oh my goodness, they're going to repeat. Imagine what he did with Fernando Mendoza. He can do this with Byrum Brown. And then Brendan Sorsby, I think is extremely overrated. I think he's solid. I think he's extremely overrated, and he's going to be very rich for the rest of his life because of the decision made. That's awesome. Good for him. But I think if Byrum goes to Tech, the hype around Byrum will be so much higher than Sorsby at Tech right now.
I think that's totally fair. And there's a lot of Auburn fans that feel like nobody wanted this guy. Miami didn't even try to get this guy. And it's like, okay, some schools know the deal. Like some schools aren't going to waste a ton of resources if they don't think there's any chance of getting you. So don't think like there's no chance that Miami did not reach out to Byrum Brown. There's no chance that Lane Kiffin didn't kick the tires as well. There's no chance that any of these schools that were looking for quarterbacks at least made a call, sent a text message, something. But like you said, the guy came here as soon as he went into the portal, he came here and never left. He was
and he came here before he was like allowed to officially enter. So I think he was just hanging out in town before he could go into the athletic complex because USF was holding everybody hostage.
He was in a team meeting before he even had like his contract signed. Like he was never going anywhere else but Auburn. And I feel like Auburn is penalized and Byrum Brown's penalized for that as far as from a hype perspective goes.
Yeah. Now, does that actually matter? You know, whatever. But I think it would help with, you know, branding, and I think it would help with everything tied to I mean, Byrum deserves it. I mean, the lack of attention he's getting based off of what he did last year is crazy.
Guys, Gunnar Stockton over Byrum Brown. Are you kidding me? JD.
And like projection, like if I had to guess who's going to win more this year, Gunnar or Byrum, like, okay, that's a different conversation. But to have a top 10 list and have some of these guys, is Sam Levitt even healthy?
I don't get that hype either.
The Sam Levitt thing sounds very similar to DJ Lagway last year.
Yeah.
As far as like, yeah, he'll be fine by the season. He'll be fine. It's like,
I think Darian Mintz is a good one. I think Miami probably lucked into that one. He might be in the conversation that I would take, but like Arch, no thank you. Brennan Sorsby, no thank you. Josh Hoover, no thank you. CJ Carr, I've never even heard of CJ Carr.
Really?
I'm kidding, but he's only going into his second year, I believe.
Well, he's why, you know, all those folks were commenting like, well, Deuce Knight's going back to Notre Dame. I'm like, I don't think so. CJ Carr is pretty young.
He's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I think I'll say there's three guys. If you gave me three guys over Byrum Brown, I may think about it.
So you're saying Dante Moore, Darian Mensah, and who?
Jaden Mayava.
All right. Yeah, I'm not far off of that. I'm high on Josh Hoover, but I'm not taking him over Byrum Brown.
No, God, no.
And like, I think Julian Sain's really good.
I just don't want him. I mean, for what Auburn needs, I don't think he does it.
Situation and system matters. Yeah. And if Byrum Brown was in the open market, the conversation around him, he's on this list. If he was actually truly in the open market.
I agree. I've been saying it. I totally agree.
Israel Abrams picked up a few RPMs. Looks like he's got a great chance to be Auburn's next quarterback. That's next right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move. I mean, it's like we were just talking about with quarterbacks. Sure, you could be a great quarterback, but the fit matters too. Like Byrum Brown at Auburn, the fit is perfect. And you can find that perfect fit for your next employee at Indeed. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're that says hiring. So if you're hiring, spending less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. Kyle Rush of the Barn. He hosts the Top Button podcast. Israel Abrams picking up RPMs from rivals and on three, even though they're kind of the same thing now. I mean, this would be a massive get. 4-star QB from the Chicago area, a national recruit, athletic as it gets, big arm, developed. I mean, another guy that just is like, yeah, this is you're fine building your room, your class around this kid.
And this is a Golesh kid too, man. This is a guy that he got. You know what I mean? Like this is he's it's strictly like there's no even probably any interest in Auburn if it's not for Alex Golesh. Like, how often does Auburn go into Illinois and gets their quarterback?
Yeah, we don't get a lot of Chicago guys.
Not very often at all.
Yeah.
So you're talking number 3 quarterback in the country, depending on which site you're looking at, as your first high school quarterback, and it's in kind of a good year, I think. Like it's
like it.
You know,
Yeah.
how that separation works as far as classes go with quarterbacks is huge because they're not going to sit forever. You know, it looks like it could be, you could even entertain him being maybe the starter year 1, or you could entertain maybe bringing in another 1-year guy and then handing the keys over to him. But he's polished, like you said, good size. And he would be one too, from a marketing standpoint, if you could lock in early, kids want to come play with him. You know what I mean? Like it could be one of those type guys. Very, you know, just a lot of hype around him, I guess.
Yeah, it makes you think, okay, Auburn had some pretty solid receivers on campus at junior day. They probably answer you a little bit quicker if you get Israel Abrams to commit to you publicly.
And remember too, like, it's good to get your guy early. Quarterbacks go early, and you don't want to be in a scenario like you were 2 seasons ago where you're desperate and you're just trying to get anybody you can. And luckily you did end up getting a guy like Deuce Knight who could, you know, be all world eventually one day. But yeah, you get that, you're organized, you're focused, you get it knocked out and get it over with. And that's a good one. That will be a good one. And usually those Fong bombs, Steve Wiltfong, those Fong bombs don't go in, you know, months before a commitment. I don't know of an official timeline, but usually those go in when they feel like something's pretty close to happening.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not doing that just for fun, and he's not doing that just to sit there. It's usually hey, something's close, or he's hearing it from an agent or whatever it might be. So
Zach,
that should be good news.
You want to hear some high school stats?
Yes.
How he did last year. He threw for 4,072 yards at a 68% completion percentage, 40 touchdowns to 6 interceptions.
And then on his 247 page, he led his team to a championship as a sophomore. Threw for like 2,000 something yards, I think.
Let's see. He threw for he was undefeated last year. They were undefeated, it looks like, last year.
Can you imagine recruiting a quarterback that's lost in high school?
I wouldn't. Why would you?
Why would you?
I can't see his stats as a sophomore.
I read that on the 247 page earlier when I was kind of reading about him. So regardless, though, been effective. The completion percentage thing is exciting to me, and then obviously just the total yardage. I mean, it's just
it doesn't look like he's
solid potential get here.
Doesn't look like he's just like a burner as far as from a running standpoint. But they used him a lot to score those, like punch those goal line touchdowns in. So he's
the stats, runner. Baby. I'm all about that.
Yeah. Over 50 touchdowns last year. Sign me up. I'll take it.
Yeah.
In high school. It's like 5 a game.
Had Brian on yesterday to talk about him just from a trait standpoint. And he liked that he is super athletic, but he's still pass first, which is what Golesh is typically liked. Not just, okay, there's pressure, I'm going to run it. It's, okay, I'm going to use my feet to buy another second or two and then throw it downfield. And then if that's not there, then I will run it. So good instincts there as well, which you like. And that typically translates to the college game a little bit better too. So love it. Love it. Love it. Kyle, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Absolutely. Go to thebarnauburn.com, sign up today, get in the conversation. The Barn Auburn on YouTube or the Barn Podcast Network, anywhere you get a podcast.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.